Welcome to the Hoover Library Sci-Fi Fantasy Festival Star Wars speculation panel.
Woo!
I'm Stan Daniel from Kingdom Cast's podcast. Michael Nip was going to join us, but he had a little problem, and so he's unable to join us. We talked about replacing him with a sock puppet, but the library said things about that being in bad taste. And of course, the pride and joy of the Star Wars panels, Miss Marie Wilson. Marie, introduce yourself.
Hello, my name's Marie Wilson, and I love Star Wars in all its different formats. I've got a Star Wars YouTube channel called Afra's Artifacts, which talks about LGBTQ plus Star Wars, and I've got a Star Wars review blog, which reviews all different kinds of Star Wars books, everything you can imagine.
Awesome. And I should mention that Michael Nip, who's not here, but we'll pretend like he is, has a podcast and a YouTube channel called Deucecast, Deuce Cast. So check that out as well for him. All right. Well, speculate.
Yeah.
We've got a lot. I actually saw a couple of articles here recently in the last couple of months that were actually speculating that is Star Wars entering into a golden age? Is the property entering into I got to tell you, I think all the signs are there.
Yeah.
They're definitely set up to be able to. And there's a lot for fans to look forward to. What are you looking forward to the most?
Specifically, what am I looking forward to? Yeah. I would say the thing I'm looking forward to the most is... Oh, good. This is hard. I think, although we know next to nothing about it, with C-3PO being one of my absolute favorite Star Wars characters, I'm really looking forward to a droid story. Yeah. I have no idea what that's going to look like, but it sounds fun.
Yeah. I love the droids. I'm still holding to the theory that there's something serious going on with the post-Clone War droids in the background. From all the novels, from even hints inside of the movies, the droids, especially the sequels, focused on 3PO a lot. I mean, BB-8, of course, but 3PO was the real emotional tie throughout all, the last two films.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's no ands, ifs, or buts about it. And R2-D2, well, it's from his point of view, we see the first 6 films. And the droids and the droid network that they've established, they're becoming more human. And I think that's a bigger threat than the droids in the Clone Wars ever were. In some ways. And I do think they're setting us up for something there.
What's like in the novel Last Shot, there's the whole potential for a droid uprising, and not in a good way. It's a very evil droid uprising where it's like, we're going to kill all the humans. So, and that was crazy. The one scene in the book where there was a calf droid that like started freaking out and everything was going haywire. And so, yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. So there's definitely some thought being put into that. Now, of course, was it episode 14 of the Bad Batch that just aired last night? All right. So we're coming into the last 2, aren't we?
Yes. I hope it's not actually the last 2, though.
Well, I'm sure they're going. We talked about this in the Bad Batch.
Yes. Season 2.
Yeah. I really, of course, there's got to be. There's no way they can tie up all, especially with what they set up in this. They've got, okay, I'm going to get them mixed up, but you're going to fix this, I'm sure. Lama Su. Did they take Lama Su into custody, or was it Lama Su they killed?
Lama Su was the one that they left in a room with troopers with big guns.
Yeah, they implied that he was killed,
Yes.
and they
I'm
took
pretty sure, yeah.
the one that's emotionally invested in Omega.
Hmm.
Yeah. The
Yeah,
Empire can use your talents,
right.
and can
We
use a
need a
scientist.
scientist, not a politician.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so I mean, my God, this has gone everywhere, scattered throughout all of the current Star Wars stuff. You see the cloning going on in the background.
Hmm.
You see it in Mandalorian. You definitely saw it in Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
You're getting the hints here and there, and of course, in Mandalorian, the Doctor had the Kamino insignia
Hmm.
patch on him as well. So this is definitely playing into the later Star Wars stuff and the cloning of Emperor Palpatine, and even explaining where Snoke came from.
Yeah.
Because Palpatine, I've been every voice that you've heard in your head, and we see the Snoke clones all piled in one tube. And, kind of gross. So we've definitely got an overarching situation with cloning is not going away.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to last even beyond the sequels.
I would that would be fascinating. I definitely want to know more because even while the Rise of Skywalker adult novelization did go into some detail about the cloning stuff, I still don't exactly know what a strand cast is. So it would be really cool to dig a little deeper into that and see what exactly all this stuff is.
Yeah. It's again a strain cast. What I took it for is just Star Wars speak for. It's more than DNA. All the components that we need to successfully have a clone, a basis for a clone.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I mean, so things like that. Sometimes they go deeper into it if they've got somebody sitting there that can think it out, make it logical. And sometimes it's just that blaster. That's all you need to know. It's a blaster. Yeah, a strand cast. Don't worry about it. It works. There's Snoke. See him? That sort of thing. So I look if they start. They've got a whole world of opportunities open to them here.
Mm-hmm.
What we're getting, what's coming up quickest are going to be things like books, the Book of Boba Fett.
Mm-hmm.
So far as the continuation in the situation with in the time period of the Mandalorian and
Yep.
Ahsoka. Kenobi takes place before all this. Yeah, well before all this. So you've got Ahsoka, Book of Boba Fett. What else?
Rangers of the New Republic.
Oh, okay. So we're going ahead with that.
I think so.
All right. Because there was some talk after the Gina Carrera situation, but I don't see any reason why they wouldn't. That's too good of a concept. Even if you're not, I think there's an offhanded chance that you may see her walk back in. And the reason I say that is because they haven't stopped making the toys. She's in new Lego sets and everything else. So, she's got enough fan popularity. This may have been like, let the heat cool off and then we'll talk.
I mean, the thing is, like, I love that character.
Yeah.
Cara Dune is a super cool character.
Yeah.
So it's the whole situation is such a bummer.
It really is. But yeah, everybody loves the character. Everybody thinks very much. I mean, she's an Alderaanian.
Mm-hmm.
Commando, this is great. This is awesome. This is wonderful setup. She would have been perfect basis for Rangers. But even if she doesn't walk back in, my God, you can pull anybody into this.
Yeah.
And it still have it would affect the setup or whatever they were planning very little. Just a few minor tweaks here and there on that. Right. So out of all the new stuff, what are you looking forward to most?
The stuff that I know that is coming up soon. This is what I'm looking for. It's not one particular show, but it's the fact that they said there would be an epic crossover event between Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett, Ahsoka, and Rangers of the New Republic. Like, that excites me. The connectivity and the continuity, super cool.
Yeah,
So that's what I'm looking forward to.
I am too. I want to see. Well, do you think that situation is thrown?
Hmm.
That's who Ahsoka's going after. And
Yeah.
yeah, as big of a threat as Gideon is, he's no Thrawn. I
Yeah.
mean,
That's
Thrawn
for sure. For
Thrawn
sure.
is the greatest threat since Palpatine. And that would be a wonderful set. I like the way they're setting it up. I had read that it was described as when you watch each of these shows coming out streaming on Disney Plus, you're watching chapters to a larger story. Each is its own chapter jumping around here and there and accumulating in this big epic situation toward the end, whatever that is.
Yeah. I love that. I am all about that kind of connectivity for sure.
Oh God, yeah. And the character development.
Yeah.
Anything to increase the mythology of Star Wars, to lay the basis for it. And they've got a lot of great time periods to explore here. They're dealing in the past. They're dealing in the far past with the Golden High Republic. I can't call it the Golden Republic, but the High Republic.
Yeah.
And they're dealing in the interim with Kenobi, and then they're dealing in post Jedi with all of their other shows that are out. And by the way, did you read where Rosario Dawson seems to have confirmed the casting
of who?
Lars Mikkelsen has Thrawn, and Mina Masad has Ezra.
Nice.
Aladdin from the live action Disney is where most people will know him from. I think that's perfect.
So my initial take when Ahsoka in The Mandalorian asked where Thrawn was, I was like, wait a second. I want the Thrawn and Ezra situation to play out in animated form because that's where it started. And I really, really wanted that. But I think it will be, I know they know what they're doing. Yeah. I know that they'll figure it out and it'll be great, even though it's not animated. Plus, live action gets more eyes on it. So, I mean, that's a good thing. But I mean, does that mean we're going to see Sabine? Wasn't Sabine who teamed up with
Ahsoka?
Yeah. So, so we've got to see her if we're talking about that storyline.
Oh yeah. Well, there's nothing to say. Look, the situation we saw Ahsoka for basically over the period of, say, maybe 3 days tops over Mandalorian. Okay, there's nothing to say that Sabine has been working with Ahsoka, but Sabine had to go over here to do X, Y, Z, while Ahsoka said, "Okay, while you're doing that, I'm going to take care of this. Yeah, I'm going to chase down this lead," and so it's wide open. I've no doubt we're going to see Sabine, and we've already been told to look for a surprising character to show up from Rebels in either Book of Boba Fett or Mandalorian season 3. Now I don't think that's Sabine, because to me Sabine would not be surprising. We've got Ahsoka.
Exactly.
And so Sabine would be logical. Yeah, I'm hoping it's one of the others. I'm hoping it's Chopper. I hope we have a Chopper series that. And I was thinking about what you said. As I was watching Bad Batch last night. I mean, the Bad Batch are running around very carefully stunning everybody, and Chopper in the meantime is just decapitating people, throwing them off of cliffs. Whatever gets the job done. He really doesn't discriminate.
That's something I've mentioned in my reviews, how it's so funny that the Bad Batch is like, they stun people. They don't kill people. They stun people. And I'm like, that's cool. That's cute.
I, the setup for that is clearly the Bad Batch is not going to kill their brothers.
Right, exactly.
Well, as of that last episode, we just found out they're not their brothers anymore. So I wonder how long it's going to take for one of them to flip the little switch on the blaster.
That's a good point.
To full force knock them out, knock them down. And also, in addition to that, is that the first time we've seen that stormtrooper helmet with the slight overlap and almost looks like two pieces?
Maybe.
Yeah, because
I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I
couldn't picture it anywhere else. I did a little looking this morning. Couldn't find it anywhere else. So guess what, Star Wars fan? Another stormtrooper helmet.
Yeah, I was like, when they were saying they were stormtroopers and not clones, I was looking for the traditional stormtrooper outfit, and I'm like, this is a little different. Something's a little different.
Yeah, the helmet had a little bit of overlap and a little more definition around the jaw, and of course the ones with the bright blue. And they were announcing the TK series, and also, did you not love the way? Do you not admire the fact that in every Imperial outpost, Death Star, the mountain base, wherever it is, that when all hell breaks loose, they start playing the John Williams Stormtrooper chase music over the PA system? Because the Empire is nothing if not theatrical.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
But I love that. I loved all the little clips, and the Bad Batch is just phenomenal.
Oh yeah.
Definitely looking forward to
loving it.
2. Yeah. Definitely. I mean, there's no way they can't do a season 2.
I know.
I
just don't want Wrecker to die.
Well, we don't know that. We were just talking about that. I'm just saying, Michael brought up somebody has to die.
Yeah.
If somebody has to die, it's got to be Wrecker. I know it looks like it's Hunter.
Yeah.
But there's that between Crosshairs and Hunter. There's the two sides of the same coin reconciliation thing going on. Wrecker's the one that's the kid has a point. He has a point. You have a point. And Hunter's just looking at him. Yeah, he's the lovable one. He's the one that Omega is most really openly emotionally attached to.
Right.
Hunter's the father figure, but Wrecker's the older brother that she just loves. So, I mean, look, not just beyond the streaming series, beyond anything we're going to get in film. I think Rogue Squadron's the only film that's been officially announced, right?
Yeah. I mean, we've had all these announcements like years ago, I feel like now that it may or may not ever happen. So
that's the COVID situation. But I there's some things oh God, hold on a second. Taika Waititi. Waititi. From Thor Ragnarok and Thor Love and Thunder and The Things We Do in the Dark, of course. I think if anybody needs to get something out other than Rogue Squadron, it's got to be his. I want to see him play in a corner of the Star Wars universe.
Oh yeah.
Definitely. He's a wonderful storyteller. So I would very much look forward to that. Something Michael and I have discussed. In addition to everything we're getting through media, through novels, through comics, there's a actual living being part of the story at Disney World Orlando and Disneyland California, Anaheim, and all. Have you been able to go down there yet?
No.
Well, it's because of COVID. Are you dying to go down there?
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. I want to stay in the resort. I want to do all of it for sure.
Well, the Starship Resort.
Yeah. I have to say that I have been a sucker for the various Galaxy's Edge toys that have come out. Like, I own all of the plushes that they sold at Target. There are like 4 or 5 of them,
Yeah.
and I have all of them. They're so cute.
I mean, they know how to market. They definitely know how to
Yeah.
market. I've got the Lego Starship from the ride, Rise of the Resistance.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
And yeah, but if there's one thing Disney knows, it's market. And we talked about this too. They're marketing the dang popcorn in Bad Batch. The popcorn that you buy at Galaxy's Edge, is what Wrecker and Omega goes and treats themselves to every time they finish. And we've seen it in like 5 episodes.
Yeah, they eat it a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it deserves its own credit at the end. Yeah, so, but you've got this actual living, breathing story that goes on down there and before COVID, and hopefully once we get past this, they'll continue with their plans to further this. But there's an entire story going on separate from everything else with Vi Marati.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And she's a spy for the rebellion. We've had 2 novels with her in it. Phasma was the first one. I forget the name of the second one, but it was Galaxy's Edge something or other. I read the entire
Black
thing.
Spire?
Black Spire Outpost. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is the name of the outpost in Galaxy's Edge. And it had her and Cardinal in it. And I mean, she is a full-blown character that I really do think we should see more of. She is highly entertaining, and they've got her, before things changed, they had her character running around down there enlisting help for the rebellion and hiding from the stormtroopers, and the stormtroopers chasing her down 2 or 3 times a day. You would see her run across the top of scaffolding and stormtroopers after her and yelling at her and stuff. And it's a good time to be a Star Wars fan.
Oh yeah,
I really and truly believe that. I think it's going in directions that we may not have seen otherwise. We can get into the politics of corporate takeovers and such. And I love George Lucas, but George Lucas would always have a tendency to kind of slide Star Wars to the back burner. He'd do something, and then it gets slid. Yeah, it'd slide over here to the back burner. There's not going to be a 7, 8, and 9. He made that announcement official. But then he gave us Clone Wars with Dave Filoni. And the talent they've got working for him, Dave Filoni, Jon Favreau, all under Kathleen Kennedy. And that cannot be stated enough. Everybody raves about Favreau and Filoni. Who do you think hired them? Do you think that they just walked in and said, we're going to do so-and-so XYZ? No. She knows talent. She knows who to get to caretake these properties.
Agreed.
So, I mean, we are definitely looks like we're in for a good time. What are you thinking of the High Republic?
Oh my gosh, I love it. That's another thing I'm really excited for is the Acolyte, the eventual TV show we'll get, because we haven't seen much of the dark side of the Force except for with the Dringir. At least I'm still working on getting through the most recent set of novels that came out. But besides the Dringir, like it's the Jedi versus a non-Force using group, the Nile. So I'd be very interested to see what the dark side of the Force is like in the High Republic era. But I'm really, really enjoying everything about it. I love how fleshed out all the characters are. The continuity is incredible. How they're having characters pop up in, like, they'll start a character in a young adult novel and then they'll show up in the adult comics. Like, stuff like that is just, for me, it's awesome. And I know for some people they're probably like, this is so much, but I love it.
Yeah, and I get that. Well, we've sat on when we do these live. There's one guy in particular I'm thinking about. I don't expect you to remember him, but he sits there. I don't want to read. I don't want. Okay, don't read. It's all right. You don't have to.
Yeah.
But the more I can get, the more good, solid stuff I can
Yeah.
get,
Oh yeah.
I'm fine with it. I want it. It's
Hmm.
okay for us to jump to High Republic and then Mandalorian and then Kenobi and then back over here to this and then have the novel with Han, Lando, and the droids. I'm I'm enjoying all of it so long as it's solid. It respects the other continuity, and that's not something I could say before Disney,
Yeah.
because I had tried. Well, on the shelf behind me, I've got the Zahn books, I've got Shadows of the Empire, and I would try to read as much, but nobody was in charge of the continuity.
Hmm.
There were things that were just blatantly incorrect in one book that was established in another book, and the characters a lot of the times didn't sound right to me. But as much as possible, Lucasfilm seems to have that under control. There are little glitches here and there,
Yeah.
but they're not major. They're not, the Ahsoka Rex thing. I'm willing to buy that was a foul up. That's okay. We'll go with what's in Clone Wars. It's the mistakes they do make to me are acceptable.
I actually just thought of this. I've been going through the Absolutely Everything You Need to Know reference book
Mm-hmm.
and the updated and expanded one that came out, Journey to the Last Jedi. And they're on the page about Rex. It has a little bit of information that confuses me. Speaking of continuity, it says that Rex, after Fives revealed the chip, that Rex, Gregor, and Wolf removed their chips before Order 66. But we see Rex in Clone Wars
With the chip.
like shaking, you know, like wanting to attack Ahsoka, but not wanting to attack Ahsoka.
And she did have to remove this chip. She put it
Yeah.
into the thing. Okay, there's a fix for that. And I mean, right off the top of my head, they could have removed a chip, but not the chip,
Yeah.
because we were talking about a possible kill switch
True.
inside of the clone troopers.
Yeah.
And so that would be a quick continuity fix right there.
Hmm.
If it turns out that later Palpatine says, okay, enough, hits a button, and all the clone troopers everywhere drop, except for Rex, the other
Mm.
four, the Bad Batch. Well, no, the Bad Batches only had their Order 66 chips removed. So a
Yeah.
quick fix with that would be, well, why, it makes sense if they implanted one control chip, they'd implant two. So we just have to wait and see. That'd be an easy fix for me. But otherwise, it's just something that has the story evolved. They
Right.
had to take another
Exactly.
direction on it. And I do this. I know they've got gatekeepers for this. And when a decision like that's made, I know it doesn't go unnoticed. And
Hmm.
sometimes they're just going to have to go with what works in the format better, what tells the better story. And that's what I'm about. I'm all about what is the
Just
better story.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I let me ask you this: how long do you think it'll be before we see post sequel situations?
Hmm. Goodness. Oh. Um. Well, Lando, right?
I assumed Lando was going to be Solo era.
I thought that what maybe this was my head canon. What I thought would be cool, or I don't know. Anyway, was that we'd have young
Oh,
Lando doing
and
his thing,
yeah,
but the beginning of the episode and the end of the episode would be older Lando with Jana
I
going
like that.
through like going on their adventure to find out Jana's parents, where she's from, all that kind of stuff. And every every adventure they go on leads them to like some kind of story from young Lando.
Yeah,
That's what I was envisioning.
I
I don't
like
know where I got that from.
I like that. I like that. One of the questions when we talk about Star Wars on the podcast, one of the questions that get in are we get. Oh, I'm not even going to say question. there's 2 or 3 individuals that repeatedly will send me YouTube links saying how they're going to write the sequels out. Sequels didn't happen and all
Oh
this.
my goodness.
I want anybody watching this to understand the sequels aren't going anywhere. They're not. They're canon. They're there. And while 5 or 6 of you don't like them now, your kids love them. And because I've lived through the original trilogy, I've lived through the Clone Wars, I've lived through the sequels, and the Clone Wars and the sequels have a lot in common so far as fan reaction goes. So they're not going anywhere. And having said that, I was kind of off put by the fact that it was sort of implied in Rise of Skywalker that Finn, well, it was implied in The Force Awakens and in Episode 8 and in Episode 9 that Finn is in tune with the Force.
Yeah.
I mean,
oh yeah.
More than implied. He hears, oh God, what is it? Hosnian Prime. He hears the screams from Hosnian Prime before it happens. He looks up. He's the first one out there. He looks up. He hears the screams in his head. This is all, and he's trying to tell Rey throughout Episode 9. And all. So I was really under the impression we were going to get a Finn, or that they were at least tinkering with the idea of a Finn streaming series.
The only thing is, I don't see John Boyega doing that at all.
And that kind of breaks my heart. That really
does. Me too, for sure. I mean, Finn is my favorite sequel trilogy character.
Yeah, I really liked him. I really liked the way they developed him and all that. I think it's a shame that John wanted to burn that bridge a little too quick. Over the things that I think if he had just waited, he would have gotten everything he wanted for the character.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a ridiculous theory when The Force Awakens came out. I honest to God thought Finn was going to turn out to be Han's grandchild from Shauna in the comics.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, Han's wife, but it turns out she was only his wife to run a con. But they had a romantic relationship and everything. So back when The Force Awakens first came out, and they were packaging Finn and Chewbacca with the Millennium Falcon on the toy set. So and they introduced Shauna in the comics, and I thought, oh my God, this is Shauna's grandchild. You'd have to skip a generation there.
Yeah.
For the time, but that's and that could be Han Solo's grandson. And of course, that didn't pan out. So I keep my I keep my head canon to myself now. So, when are we going to see Dr. Aphra show up in live action? Where?
Oh my gosh. Where? Yeah. Where and when? Oh my goodness. I mean, personally, I think she would make an incredible show of her own, just like an Indiana Jones style show. I think would be super cool. But with if they made, gotta think. Because, I mean, right now she's still, going strong between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
So
have we seen any evidence she goes past Return of the Jedi? I mean, we've seen Hera, we've seen pretty much everybody else walks past Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, no.
If we haven't seen it, it doesn't matter. That doesn't mean it's not there.
Right.
Yeah. I think the best opportunity for her is to put her during the Ahsoka Mandalorian time period.
Yeah, absolutely.
Any chance of her showing up in Kenobi?
I don't think so. I think it would be what I think they could do would be in like it may be Ahsoka. There's an episode that is a means to an end sort of episode. And they have Dr. Aphra being the catalyst for finding a certain thing or getting in touch with a certain person or doing a job or something like that. That's not necessarily tied in with the lore so much as getting from one point to another.
Yeah, yeah, I can definitely see that. I I always thought that Ahsoka would premiere in Kenobi, but this is before we got the Mandalorian going and so on and so
Mhm.
forth. It always made sense. Ahsoka. I can honest to God see uh, Afra being his charter off tattooing or back to tattooing or that
Oh,
situation. This would,
yeah.
this would still be uh, post the prequels, but before she actually shows up in Star Wars continuity in
Mhm.
the Darth Vader comic, which is immediately after A New Hope.
Right.
So yeah, and I could actually see them working her in there some way, and I think that would make everybody just lose it. I really do. Plus, the characterization, the way Afra is built, her characterization, would that not play perfectly off Ewan McGregor's Obi-Wan?
Oh my god, I hadn't even thought about that. Like
Yeah,
the one-liners and the humor and the just
yeah.
the
You thought Anakin was frustrating? You've seen nothing yet. Yeah, yeah. At least Anakin was leaning toward evil. You could kind of see that path there. You don't know what the hell to expect with Afra.
Cause
She,
she's like
yeah,
she she's so morally ambiguous. She never does anything that's well, she one time I can say she did something that was completely morally good, and that was when she did everything she could to steer Vader away from Hoth.
yeah.
But because she wanted to save Magnetolvin and she wanted to save the little girl. Oh gosh, I can't remember her name. Um
I,
and the other rebels,
yeah.
she actually went out of her way to trick him. So that was the one thing she did that was like trying to save other people. But besides that, everything she does is like and it's funny, she'll do things that are bad, but it turns out that they're actually good after the fact, and she's so confusing with
By
where
mere
her
coincidence. Yeah.
yeah.
Not by any active participation on her part. It just works out that way.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
you can see Obi-Wan is learning from his faults. His patience was part of the problem with Anakin.
Mhm.
Yeah, and he's meditating on it, and then he has to go out and he ends up having to deal with Afra. I mean, this is, you can just see the look on McGregor's face. Yeah, just perfect. So yeah, I would really, really be cool with that.
That
Uh,
that hadn't even crossed my mind, but that sounds awesome.
and I'm fairly certain we'll end up seeing Bail Organa and Kenobi.
Oh yeah,
And
I'm
probably,
sure.
there's an off chance for Mothma and the rest. The one character I would like to see show up that's shown up in Galaxy's Edge, but and it seems like it's been years, but it hadn't been years. It's been since the end of Rebels. Hondo Anaka.
Oh yeah. That
He's he's got to rear his ugly head somewhere. Yeah,
that would be super cool.
yeah, and I also want the whole story of why Chewbacca is allowing him to use the Millennium Falcon out of Galaxy's Edge.
It's so funny because he starts out as this like
A pirate, and
terrible person,
mhm.
and he slowly shifts towards the resistance actually using him to help them, and I'm like, whoa, that's a huge like
Well, they keep him. They keep his character in canon. During the Clone Wars, he had his organization. He was a diehard pirate, but he still had that humor. He wasn't
mhm.
outright. He wasn't completely evil. Yeah, he'd kill
Yeah.
you. He'd drop you on a dime. But then so would Han Solo when Solo first showed up. But
Mhm.
yeah, and then when he loses his organization and everything, the personality is still the same. It
Mhm.
just has to adapt. But
Yeah.
then by the time the Empire comes on, he clearly knows whose side he has to be on here to get anything like a semblance of his old life back. clearly he's got, he's still working his angles for himself. He's more altruistic than Afra.
Yeah.
Which is why, while it would be fun to see Hondo Ohnaka deal with Kenobi, it would be more fun to see Kenobi have to deal with Afra. And of course, we're getting Hayden back.
Yes.
Yeah, and everybody on the internet's just going crazy. Hayden's coming back. I'm going to flash back 20 years ago. Didn't you all hate him?
I never hated him.
Me either. I didn't.
I loved him from go. So
I thought he did a great job. I thought, of course, we can always say, look, there's the direction and the script problems. Yeah, and the delivery, but all that's direction. It doesn't matter. It's still Star Wars canon. It fits. It works. Hayden's in the suit, and I'm good with that. Now, we don't know. Hayden will probably do a lot of flashback scenes, which I think would be awesome.
Love that.
Live action Clone War scenes. I mean, you just absolutely, they'd have to de-age. Oh, what's his name that plays the clones?
Temuera Morrison?
Yes. Temuera Morrison. They'd have to de-age him a little. He looks perfect as Boba Fett, but de-age him a little and bring him back. That's not a problem for them at this point. Given how many people, I think Disney Plus is going to just reel in the numbers again once Kenobi hits, because this is something that they have to see. So, pie in the sky. What do you want most from Star Wars that they haven't announced or haven't said anything? Not a character, but an overall situation.
Oh, I guess there are two prongs. One is the beginning of the Sith. So, because in Legends, I loved the stories about the Sith Empire. So I didn't get to read all of them, but the ones that I did read, I loved. And I thought they were fascinating characters. So I would really enjoy seeing how the Sith started, the defecting from the Jedi and all that. But to take it back even farther, of course I want to know how the Jedi started too. So so both of those are really, I want to go way back.
It's got to be, they both have to start at the same point. There's got to be some common denominator in the beginning, and then the development from there. Where we get the Sith, where we get the Jedi.
Yeah,
I figure. I guess they'd have to branch off at the same time. One has to define the other. So, if it was me, what I'd really like to see is, I'm down for what you want to see, but I want a novel, and I want them to find the best person possible to write the novel. And I want a complete accounting. I want it to be Palpatine writing it from the moment, from his childhood all the way through Rise of Skywalker.
That would be so cool.
I want that. It can be a series of novels or whatever. They just got to find the right voice from it, and it's all Palpatine's perspective.
That I would eat that up. That sounds wonderful.
I don't, I'm a sucker for Palpatine.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I love Vader, but when it comes down to it, the strategist, I mean, you have to love a bad guy that put a plan into play that took over 60 years to play out. I mean, that is patience, that is resilience. And he is the ultimate villain. I love Sheev Palpatine.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Have you heard how I mean, it's been so long since we've had in-person cons, but E.K. Johnston has talked before about how she really wants to do a young adult Palpatine novel. And I think that would be so cool. I'm like, let her do that, please.
Yes, if she's got the idea and go for it. I mean, that's part and parcel of what I just asked for.
Yeah,
I want to see him develop. I want more clarification on Plagueis. I mean, we're all over the place with Plagueis. But I really want Palpatine from Palpatine's point of view. There's it's clear what he wants, but I want to know his motivation. I want to know, did Anakin get on his nerves as much as he did Obi-Wan?
Oh.
And things like when they're crashing at the beginning of Revenge of the Sith, there is this look. R2 is like chattering away, and there's this look that Palpatine gives R2. Yeah, I want to know that. What's running through your mind here? It's just all these moments and stuff. I just really like to see those.
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, we're coming into the last 5 minutes or so of the program. Tell us about your webpage. Tell us about your podcast, and let me give you these kudos. Marie is a walking encyclopedia. I keep up with all the current stuff as much as I can, but I don't do the little bitty books and everything. She does it, and even better, she's able to remember all of it most of the time. So
most of the time, yeah.
Tell them where they can find you and what's going on and everything.
So you can find me on Twitter at Alia Morgaine, which is right there. And that's where, if for some reason I have to skip an episode or review, I always post on Twitter. And you can find me on YouTube, where I talk about LGBTQ Star Wars at Afra's Artifacts. So Dr. Afra. And it's really great. I've gone into characters that are non-binary, that are, lesbian, gay, also species that are non-binary. That's really cool. And also how the Empire views people in that community. So it's really fun. I've really enjoyed it. I've been doing it since September, and I'm still going strong. So hopefully they don't run out of characters for me to talk about.
Oh God, no, they're not. It's Star Wars. They've got to manufacture action figures. Yeah, so they will never run out of characters. So,
yeah. And then, go ahead.
No. I was just going to ask you real quick. The Grand Admiral at the end of Aftermath, I always forget her name, but she's a constant character throughout all this.
Ray Sloan?
Yeah, Sloan. She's lesbian, isn't she?
So that's what I gather from what other people have said, but I don't. When I read Aftermath, I wasn't reviewing things, so I don't have as much. I don't have a full 1,000-word review on the Aftermath books, so I'm not 100% sure, but that's what I've heard.
I was kind of telling. I mean, and this is just like I said, me reading the adult novels and all. It appears to me, Empire kind of has a "don't ask, don't tell" policy.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what?
Except Moff Delian Moores.
Huh?
The Moff of Ryloth.
Yeah.
Moff Delian Moores. She had a wife as a Moff. So part of it is a family initiative. So if you're not going to create a family, then we don't want you together. We don't. If you're not going to create Imperial babies, we don't want you to be in that relationship. So that's kind of the thing, is we want more Imperial babies. So
Favreau, if you're listening, we need a streaming show, Imperial Babies. You imagine in the little hats, the little barcodes on their diaper.
And then my review blog, where, as Stan said, I review the books, all the books, so including the Star Wars book of Monsters, Ooze, and Slime, Chewie and the Porgs, like the little bitty books, as well as the beginning readers, the junior readers, young adult, and I try to also review reference guides, although sometimes those are a little more difficult to review, but I do what I can. So that's at thestarwarsreview.blogspot.com. And I review every Tuesday and Thursday.
Awesome. All right, I'm going to plug Michael Nip, even though he's not here. You know, he stumped his toe or something. Michael Nip on Deucecast, Duece Cast. That's on YouTube, and it's a podcast. Michael Nip's, they're entertaining. They're great. You'll love them. Check them out. Michael and his friends, they do a great job. I'm Stan Daniel. I do Kingdom Casts podcasts. That's Kingdom CASTS podcast with Albert Marsh and Sandra Swindle. We cover comics, Star Wars, Star Trek, anything, all nerdy things. The last one is arguing over the haircuts in the newest Masters of the Universe cartoon. Thrilling stuff, I got to tell you. I have no control over the podcast. Just listen to it. And Marie, I look forward to this every year. I hope that next year we're able to be live on stage with the Hoover Library again.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, and that everything goes well. I thoroughly enjoyed talking with you. Michael, less so, because that's more of a consistent thing. But these are always fun. Thank you to the Hoover Library Sci-Fi Fantasy Festival. Thank you to Kristen Griffin. Thank you to Justin. Thank you to Josh. Y'all are great and wonderful for putting this on. And we are humbled and honored that you invite us back each year. Invite us back each year, being the emphasized phrase, Kristen. So, all right. Thank you so much for watching. Justin, I'm turning it over to you.